Hello, everyone, and welcome to Professional Bookworms. Today, we will be doing a very spoilery review on The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson.
We have a nice PPT over here. Let's just get right into it. So currently we're doing a reread of the series because of the upcoming fifth book, which is going to be called Wind and Shoot, and we are very excited for that. I think Rishikesh can attest to that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
swear.
So even though this is a reread, this review will only contain spoilers for the first book, The Way of Kings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and eventually we're just going to be going through each book in the series and reviewing that as we read it, right? Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so, so Rishikesh, before that, I have a couple of questions for you. How did you like the book this time around?
So, on my first read, I didn't really enjoy it that much, I would say, because I don't know, all the characters felt new, and it was like jumping into the unknown. I had no idea what was happening. But on the reread, everything makes so much sense, and all the characters are amazing. So the reread was much better than the first read for me, and all the foreshadowing was crazy. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that holds true for me too because I very much enjoyed. Why not leave? I very much still enjoyed the first book on the first read, but now I loved it even more somehow, and I didn't think that was possible because even before this was like my favorite book of all time, including like the 11 Wheel of Time book. They were like tied, but now this is I like it even more somehow. That's possible. I don't,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't understand
It's
why.
true.
Yeah. No, technically, I did give it a lower rating, but that's just because my rating system changed instead compared. So, out of 100, what would you give this book?
So originally, I would say it was like a 93 out of 100, but now it's like solid 95 out of 100, probably more actually.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I gave it
So
on my first read. I gave it a 99. Now I have it's a 97. Even though I did enjoy it a lot more this time around.
oh yeah. Yeah, for me, yeah, it's like at least 97, to be honest, because in like part 1 of this book, or like the first half of this book, my favorite character was like Kaladin in the first read, but now it's Lirin, because like his father doing all the surgery shit, that was really cool.
That was very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And like him talking about how he like robbed Roshon and things like that. He was such a cool character in part 1 of this book. And yeah, it's at like
Yeah.
at least a 97, so yeah.
At least a 97. Yeah. It's a very it's an absolutely amazing book. I think we can all agree to that. Um. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Shit. Uh,
Uh
so yeah, it's a 97 out of 100. That's a very
yeah.
high rating. It's like the highest I've ever given a book. I oh yeah.
Yo.
Okay, I remember what I was going to say. Okay, on this reading of the series, which book are you most excited to get to?
Okay, this is definitely not biased or anything, but I'm gonna say Oathbringer.
Or Bringer, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's definitely not biased because Dalinar is my favorite character, but like still, Oathbringer had the most number of things going on. I can't really say that because this is only spoilers for Way of Kings, but it like the most important things happened in Oathbringer.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah,
But a lot of stuff happened in Words of Radiance too, which is what I actually started it. I've got like 400 pages into Words of Radiance right now. I have it right here. I borrowed it from the school library. But like, yeah, Words of
yo.
Radiance. There's a lot of stuff going on in that book too. Um, but yeah, my favorite, my the book I'm the book I'm looking most forward to getting to is actually also Oathbringer, but for a very different reason. All right. So on my first
Yeah.
read through of the series, Oathbringer was actually my least favorite for a couple of reasons. I'm not actually sure why. But so I just want to see how my opinion changes on the book on my second read, just to see how if I like it more, if I like it exactly the same, because I'm not gonna like it less. I know that much at least. But I just want to see what my reaction to the book is at this point in my life. Because I think on my first read of Warbringer, I wasn't exactly in the mood for it, if that makes sense. So I feel like that kind of
Uh,
played a part into it. But right now, I am definitely in the mood. So I'm looking forward to that so much. I I can't wait. Yeah.
So, Way of Kings, I would say, was like a really good introduction to Roshar. So, like all the characters and everything, they were like all their most of their like backstories start out in Way of Kings, you could say.
Yeah.
Like the three main
So
characters,
yeah,
Kaladin, Shalan, and
Kaladin.
Dalinar. Yeah, yeah. All three of their backstories like start out in Way of Kings, although they get their books later. But without Way of Kings, I wouldn't like their personality and their character would be horrible, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, Way of Kings is an absolutely amazing book. So should we get into plot?
Yeah. So plot wise, I would say the major like storyline started off when um it like I don't think there was like a
In this book, there
correct.
isn't really one big driving plot line that goes throughout the whole
Yeah,
book until like at the very end of the book, where things start to like interconnect a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the only time that actually happened was like Dalinar getting abandoned by Sidious
and then
and
Kaladin coming to save him.
Kaladin saving him. Yeah, that was the only interrelated part.
Well,
And
I mean,
Shalan was
in
just
between, yeah,
completely different. So
yeah, I mean, there were like minor interconnections every now and then, like especially between Kaladin and Dalinar's plot, because Kaladin's War Master is Sadeas, who is directly a part of Dalinar's plot, and also
yeah.
Shalan's plot and the rest of them is connected because obviously Yasna, who plays a big part in Shalan's thing, is uh, is Dalinar's niece.
So Yasna and Shalan's plotline in this book was more of like their more it was more of like explaining why like who the void bringers are and
Yeah,
why they're like fighting them and things. It wasn't okay in this book. Shalan wasn't really that important, I would say. She was just like a
until the
side
end at
character, to be
least,
honest.
until the
Yeah,
end
yeah.
at least, yeah. But like
She felt
especially like, yeah, on the first read, what did you think of Shalan, and like how does that compare to what you think of her now?
okay. So on the first read, I don't think I liked Shalan very much because she was kind of boring, I would say, and I personally I couldn't relate with her much because she's artistic and things. So now it's more of like I get why this is like in this book she's like this because in the later book she like grows, you could say, and yeah, this book is really essential for that. So and also her like connection with Yasna and everything. That's cool. But
How does that compare to your opinion on her on like a second read?
yeah, I don't think it changed that much to be honest. Because I mean, to be honest, I never liked Shalan that much. Like I don't hate her, but she's not my favorite. So
I mean, I still remember that Discord message you sent me all that time back.
oh no
I'm not
no.
gonna say what it
See,
was, but it was weird. Yeah.
that's I still agree with that, but that does not mean I support her or
Okay. I believe you. I believe you.
no, we can't show that message, okay?
I deleted it already, so it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, all good, all good.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I enjoyed Shalan's plot line on both reads of the thing, but in this book especially, it was definitely my least favorite. Shalan's, I didn't really get why people call it boring. Was still had some level of intrigue in her plot line, but everything like her past, her family, like her traveling to Carbran, everything with Tadavangian. Oh my god, everything with Tadavangian in this book was so perfectly set up until the end, in which it's like, oh shit, he's actually a horrible person. It's like throughout most of the book, you're like, oh, he's a nice old man, how cute. And then at the end, he's like, he draws the blood of innocence so that he can spew prophecies. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's kind of weird.
Taravangian had such a good like plot twist, character twist. I don't know what to call it. Like it was just a complete flip in personality. So in my first read, that was so unexpected. I absolutely loved it. And so this time it's somewhat more predictable, of course, because I
Because
know
you
what's
already
gonna
know what it
happen.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I know where he ends up, but it was still like a wonderful twist, like Zeth finding out Taravangian was the one, and Taravangian like plotting out all the murders and things. That was really cool. And yeah, Zeth. Oh yeah, there's another thing. So Taravangian was able to speak the Shinowar language. So
Yeah.
okay, uh, okay, no, never mind, never mind. Spoilers,
Spoilers. Spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about this in the Rhythm of War video maybe. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's three away right now. So we should probably speed up to TT maybe to
yeah,
get
yeah,
there. My God, we have like what month is it now? October, November. We have 2 months until pre-board starts. So like that's how much time we have to finish the series.
yeah. And I have to
Yeah.
start studying again. Oof,
Oh man, I hate studying.
I swear.
Right, man. But like, yeah. Um, Another thing about Shalan's plot is just all the conversations she had with Yasna. I really enjoyed a lot of those because, especially when it got into philosophy and Yasna just goes out into the street and kills like four dudes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
that was
It
fun.
was so random, but it was
But I
so
loved
fun.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Shalan like learning like what? Yeah, Shalan questioning her actions and like arguing with Yasna. That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I like Yasna in this book more than Shalan because Yasna
Everyone
was
does.
like, yeah, yeah, Yasna was like actually trying to teach her, and she didn't like hate her for like stealing the soul caster or whatever.
Yeah.
And Yasna also like helped her, you could say, with soul casting, and she was actually willing to listen to Shalan even after all the things Shalan did. So that's cool.
Yeah, and especially like the scene where she finds out that Chalan betrays her, you can see like some kind of remorse, which is like just juxtaposing what Jasna has been built up as throughout the entire book, which is just like called emotion. I mean, like not emotionless. She does have emotionless throughout the book, but like this is the most we've seen her portrayed throughout the whole book. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and Yasna, like everything with Yasna, I think was really well done. Especially like Shalan's like persistence to become like her ward, and then eventually it's just like yeah, and then like at the end of part one, it's just like the reveal that she needs to get the soul caster. That was cool.
yeah. That was really cool. And Yasna might be the most aware of like how dangerous the situation is, because she was the only one who like she was the one who started like researching on the void bringers, and like why Gavila tried like making alliances with them. And Yasna, I would say, basically led the future plot.
She's like
Yeah,
one of the
I'll
main
stop
driving
there.
forces. She's like one of the main driving forces throughout the entire series. Because like at the end of this book, especially like the revelation that the Parshmen and Parshendi are the Voidbringers, that just completely changes the outlook of the entire series going forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was probably the most influential scene, like for the coming books, and
Yeah.
like that was really cool. And yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
Let's get into like pacing. Pacing is like so a big complaint about this book is that it's a bit too slow, maybe, especially with like Kaladin and Shalan's like viewpoints. And like when you have a 1,000 page long book, there's some parts that are going to be like a little slower than your average book. But like I think that, in my opinion, this book is kind of paced perfectly. I don't think there's much I would change about how this book is written and the way it progresses, because especially like all the tension that's built up over the bridge runs, especially like Kaladin, he's like carrying the bridges and like he's continually like trying to find ways to bypass like to just like not die and
yeah.
he's just and he's just
So
yeah.
pacing wise, I would say like part one of this book was kind of slow, or I wouldn't call it slow, but it like takes a while to like understand, I would say,
It's a
or like
slow burn.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So there's not much happening of like much like importance, but still it's essential to like part two of this book. So
But I mean, of much apparent importance because, like, on when you know what's happening, you know how important it is. But like on a first read, you're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
what's
yeah. On the
happening?
first read, it was like, oh, why is this scene here? And then on the
Yeah,
second reread, you're like, oh, that's why. That's so cool. That's really nice. And yeah, I don't think it has bad pacing, to be honest, because like
yeah,
everything happened. So after one, like you could say problem, they solve the problem, and then oh, new problem again, and it keeps going for a while, especially with Kaladin. He just keeps like dying, or like his bridgemen keep dying, and he keeps on end up depressed, and he's back, and he's depressed, and it's like it goes on for a while, but now he's not depressed, so yay.
I mean, he is still depressed at the end of this book, and
Yeah, oh yeah,
well,
yeah,
he'll probably still
exactly.
be depressed for like the entire series, but like because that's like part of the
Yeah,
book. I
yeah.
found his
So,
Sanderson's like portrayal of depression to be pretty realistic. Yeah,
mm,
it made sense. Like he keeps falling back into it, no matter how much success he has. Like when he learns that Sadeas, like the Bridgemen are supposed to die, then he's immediately
yeah,
like, "Oh,
yeah,
shit, what am I gonna do?" And like the amount of times, like the amount of solutions he comes up with. Like I remember like for the first time reading that scene where he like takes the part, he just like cuts open the part in the armor, puts it on him, and starts
oh,
running.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that was like crazy.
I
And
like honestly, I felt a bit disgusted, but now I'm fine with it. So yeah, but all good.
yeah, I mean, just like cut
Like
off people's exoskeletons and put them on you. There's no problem with that. Why do you find
yeah,
this
no,
disgusting?
imagining it is still kind of weird. I don't want to imagine it, to be honest. It like you imagine like the sweat, like no, no.
Do crabs have sweat?
Uh,
You
do
know,
they?
so like you know how like in podcasts, like at the beginning there's like a random line and that's confusing, and then like the intro plays and then the actual review starts. What if at the beginning of this review I just put do crabs have sweat and then the
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
thing starts?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they do partially sweat.
who knows? Honestly,
Uh,
like, wait, maybe they'll mention it in the later books. We'll see. Um,
yeah, fine, fine, fine.
I can't believe we don't remember this if this is in the later books. It's such an important detail of the later books too, right?
I swear, so important to the lore. It's it's essential. Yeah,
When Dalinar like took all the partially sweat, put it in a bottle, and it was like he had sweat in time and threw it at spoilers, and then jumped up and said, "Yeah."
yeah, 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 yeah,
But yeah, that
yeah.
was
So
like I, I really love this so like the
yeah,
plot of this book Kaladin's plot, I think we would both agree is the best part of this specific book, at least. Like
yeah,
Dalinar's and Chalan's could be argued to be better in like books 2, 3, and 4, but for this book, since it like focuses on him,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kaladin's is definitely the best.
Kaladin definitely the best, and Dalinar was kind of boring. This book, although I will never hate Dalinar.
Somewhat. I know
Yeah,
you will never, yeah.
yeah. Talans was the worst, but it's not a lot, and it's
It's
still
like
not bad. So
it's the
yeah,
least best. It's the least best.
exactly,
That's all you have
exactly,
to say.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
Kaladin's
No,
was
like
amazing.
yeah, Kaladin's was easily the best. The amount of times, like when someone dies, someone's definitely gonna die, and like you know that,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and like
Like
so that's yeah, yeah.
when Kaladin was like talking about Tien, like not in the backstory, like while he was in the bridge, or like with bridge crew, he was talking about Tien and how Tien died, but we don't realize how he died until the very end of the book, and then you realize, and he's like, oh shit, that's so sad.
But yeah, and like especially that ending, I feel like that ending was like really well built up to, especially like, oh man, we'll have to talk about this in characters, but like the every single moment of that in the book perfectly like ties into Kaladin's arc, and that's why I think the pacing of this book is like perfect, because it's like you think back to a specific scene in the book, let and like where Callan is doing something like the honor chasm. Remember the honor chasm?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
it's like and like that one I remember like listening to the scene where he finally realizes what life before death and before weakness journey before destination means.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
Like
like
he
listening to
used
that
up a
was
lot of stormlight trying to like gather all the arrows from the Parshendi, and he's like
that's not the
really tired
one.
after
That's
that,
no,
right?
that's not the one. But like he like Deft told him about like life before that, and he went off like he went off like bro, I don't like what is life before that? That's obvious, life before that.
Oh
And then
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he slowly realizes it. I was like listening
Oh
to the
yeah, yeah,
audiobook.
yeah.
Then as I like drew his face, then he finally realized it and I got up and cheered. I was like, yeah. So I, I
Yo,
love that. I love that part so much, and that honor chasm scene especially. Like that life before that, he didn't take his life. It's like the journey before destination. It doesn't matter like if the bridgemen die or not. It just matters that he tried, and like
yeah,
how
yeah,
yeah, journey before this,
yeah.
and like
That was cool. And
that was
like
very fun.
him speaking the second ideal, that was also really cool.
Oh my
Like where
god,
he's
yeah.
just so tired, he's about to like pass out or whatever, and then
And
Syl
then like
comes up
it
to him. He's
flashes
like,
back
"You
to
know
T,
the
and then it
words."
flashes yeah, and then it
Yeah,
flashes back to like Tian's death and stuff, and
yeah, yeah.
finally,
And then
and you're
Syl
finally just
convincing him like what the words are, and that was really cool.
oh,
And
and that
also
final
Dalinar.
yeah, and like that final moment
Yeah,
where like they're all staring at Dalinar's army like being like abandoned, and like they're like Kaladin is like we should go, and then he like thinks for a bit, and then he's like shit, we need to go help him. And then like the rest of the bridgemen, they don't even ask a thing. They just like
yeah,
put the
yeah,
bridge
yeah,
on their
yeah.
back and then they go forward. And I remember the first time I read that like back like last year, and like I was in like a table
Yo,
in Discord during games period, just sitting around reading. And like
yo.
I had like a whole urge to just get up and like cheer my ass off. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like
and
I like how none of the members question him, like no matter what he does, because they like follow him. And I love Moash in this book. Like Moash, like
Moash is the
first,
best character. Moash is the best character in the
yeah.
entire series.
And like in the first half of the book, he was like rebelling against Kaladin. He's like, no, you like you'll die anyway and shit. And towards the end of the book, he's like the most loyal person and like also the
Yeah.
most skilled. That's really cool.
He also like doesn't like quite he's also like what's it called, oh Sigil, what do you think of Sigil in this book, especially after
Oh
reading
yeah,
one of the secret project thing.
yeah, yeah. After reading the Secret Project, Sigil is like you understand like you already since you already know he was like from like educated background. It makes you like him. He was the first one who came up with like tests and like um experiments, you could say, to like test out Kaladin's power. That was towards the end of the book, but like still, it shows like his like scholarish side, you could say. And he loves calculations, I would say. He wants to know the precise amount of some things. Sigil was also cool. And
Sigil was cool. Oh, so we get into like Dalinar's plot now.
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think everything with like Dalinar and Navani, that was pretty fun to read, especially like seeing Adolin like struggle against like Dad, why are you listening to these stupid visions? And then like finally like when like Navani proves like no wait, the visions are real, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Adolin was
yeah.
such a cool character. Like Adolin and Dalina's like side, like I don't know what it's called. Like yeah, their like relationship with each other is so wholesome, I would say, because
Did you know
he
that originally
questions.
Adolin? Yeah, yeah. Did you,
Yeah,
continue,
yeah.
continue. Hmm.
Oh, fine. Yeah,
You
so like originally, like Adolin questioned Dalinar because like he was worried about Dalinar's sanity, and like after he realizes he's not actually insane. He like follows him without any questions whatsoever, and like
except
that
like the
was like
one question except like one question is just like can we actually should we actually like trust Sadeas, and like we realized that he was right to ask that at the end of the book is
yeah, 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 yeah. So
uh,
Adolin was such a like nice son, I would say. Like he did everything Dalinar needed when he needed it, and he was always right too in this book, I would say. Okay, except
yeah.
about like the insanity part, but he always like he was always straightforward with Dalinar, I would say.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what did you? What I was saying is like, did you know that originally Adel wasn't supposed to be like a POV character?
Oh,
Yeah.
so he was just like a random side
No,
character.
he was just like Dalinar's son. He was just like off in the
Oh
background.
no, because
But
like
then like
no,
on,
Yeah,
now right
Adolin
now
is one
he's
of my
such an
favorite
integral
characters
part.
right now.
Right? Like and
Yeah,
especially like right now, Dalinar's like his entire Dalinar's like plot like revolves like a large part of it like revolves around Adolin, and I can't really imagine not having an Adolin as a POV character.
yeah.
That would be so
That would have been
strange.
so, yeah. Like Dalinar's entire character would have felt so hollow. Adolin,
And
yeah.
so then we also have the matter of like, wait, what was I gonna say? God, I should like write this shit down.
Yeah,
But uh, Dalinar, Dalinar's plot, like all the court intrigue, was like really fun to read, kind of sometimes. Especially like, so like you're like wondering, like, wait, why is Sadeas defending him? What's happening
yeah.
there? And like
Like
everything with Elocard, yeah.
Brandon Sanderson manages to convince like Sidious is actually a good person. He wants to help Alethkar and shit. And then right after
And
that, Sidious
no,
becomes the
no,
most horrible
no.
person ever. Yeah, and it was that. So it's beautiful, I would say. Yeah,
And yeah, Sadeas is like a very very interesting character, like because he just kind of sucks. It's like at least with, well, usually with Sanderson villains there's at least like some kind of like you look at, well, no spoilers, but like character like the villain from the first Mistborn era, and it's just like there's at least something to him. Sadeas just kind of
oh yeah,
sucks. I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, there
And
is the
that's
aspect of him thinking that it's the best for the kingdom, but eventually it is just an excuse that it's mostly just best
yeah,
for him.
like even after he betrayed Dalinar in the tower, he made sure not to do it in such a way like that the other high princes would start doubting Sadeas, because Sadeas like wanted to make sure stability was there, and like he betrayed Dalinar on the tower to make sure that the other high princes don't question him, and that's really cool. So
That that
Sadeas
is,
Sadias, if he did not hate Dalinar so much, he would have been such a cool like side character, I would say.
yeah, like specifically like the way Sanderson like writes the tension between Sadeas and Dalinar. Oh, and that final scene where Dalinar just like thrusts like the
Oh
shard
yeah,
blade
yeah,
into the ground, and he's just like for the bridgeman, and that's like one of the best like
yeah.
demonstrations of a character's principles in a book I've ever read. Right? It's
That's
just
true.
like
That's true.
because like
And
throughout the
like
whole book. Yes,
Sadias
what
was
was
not like he did not want to lose the Bridgeman whatsoever. Like even if like first Dalinar offered like really high prices, right, for like each of the Bridgemen, and then Sadias just like Sadius didn't want that, but when he sees the like Oathbringer, he like his greed for the like shard blade instantly like allows him. So
yeah, sorry, my brother is yeah. But yeah, I was still listening because I have headphones on. But like
yeah,
yeah, you're very right. And like you can like throughout the whole book also you know how like Kaladin is like hearing about Dalinar and is like, huh, last time I trusted in a light I used to have honor, I got betrayed, I got the worst betrayal of my life. And now that one moment where he finally trusts, where he finally gets his freedom, it's just like hell yes, he is
yeah.
Dalinar
Finally,
is a
he's
man of
trusting
honor.
Dalinar. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yes.
like in Words of
That
Radiance, it
was so
doesn't.
good.
In Words of Radiance, he has his doubts. I mean, this isn't a spoiler, I don't think. In Words of Radiance, he does have his doubts, but like even then, he still trusts Dalinar very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Dalinar showed a lot. Like I would say, Dalinar was like the least like caring about eye color in Roshar. So he doesn't care what like if he's if like Kaladin's dark eyes or not. He was like willing to give him like the highest position he could, like without like angering the other light eyes. And like they only met for like I would say like a few hours at that point.
Barely even a few hours. That
Yeah, yeah, because but like still he was willing to give like the most highest position, like
that he could do
I
it like
forgot what it
Dark
was called.
Eyes.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Captain Caledon. That has a nice ring to it. No?
yeah, yeah. So
But like
Dalinar like trusts people easily, I would say. Yeah,
he trusts people easily, which is unfortunately proven by his deal with Sidious. But
yeah,
that is but like yeah, Dalinar's whole plotline was the second best in this book, I think, and maybe the best in the series as a whole. I'm not sure. I will have to see on the reread.
yeah, yeah,
And another aspect of plot that I wanted to talk about is the amount of foreshadowing this. Like obviously we're not going to go
oh
into spoilers, but like the the title of the first chapter of like that Kaladin, that from Kaladin's perspective and from Dalinar's perspective are both like absolutely amazing like things. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kaladin's first one is
And
called Honor is Dead, and
yeah,
Dalinar's
yeah.
first chapter is called Unity. So like it's already
Yo,
so like if you've read later in the series, you already know the like significance and like I don't know if you were paying attention to the book, you saw like those things that were showing up beforehand, before the
yeah, yeah,
chapter.
yeah,
Yeah, the epigraphs. Uh, those like even it foreshadows even stuff that happens in this book. Like it foreshadows what's happening with Tadavantian, and like so many death rattles are just like foreshadowing stuff that happens like 4 books later, and it's actually insane.
yeah.
And it's
So
and like
it's also foreshadowing, but it talks about the past. And so if you haven't read any of like the other Cosmere books, it's hard to understand what it's talking about. But I remember there was one, 3 of the 16 rule or
rule
something.
now the broken one
Yeah,
reigns.
yeah, yeah. Now the broken one reigns. So like 16, that number you need to read like Mistborn and a lot of other books for that.
Yeah.
So like it's not even foreshadowing in Stormlight. It's like connection, I would say, with like the Cosmere as a whole.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like the Cosmere connected in this book aren't too overt, to be honest, because like Stormlight is the series through which like he does the most Cosmere connections, even though like in other series, especially like the Secret Projects and like the latest Mistborn book, there is a lot of connectivity in those books too. But like as a series, Stormlight is definitely the one with the most connections.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
even then it's not too heavy handed. I would say you wouldn't have really if you would like don't want to read anything else in the Cosmere, you definitely can. It'll just like I mean
yeah.
I'm not sure about like Wind and Truth because that has a lot of Cosmere aspects it seems going into it. And Rhythm of War too.
Oh,
Like as the series goes on, you might have to read some other Cosmere stuff, specifically like Warbreaker and some Mistborn. But other than that, it's actually pretty tight for especially for
yeah,
like you can read it without knowing anything else about the Cosmere, and that's he does it really well too.
yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is the name Thaidakar. So in this book, it's mentioned, I would say, twice throughout
Five
the
times,
entirety
I
of this
counted.
book. Five times.
I think it's 5 times. I think yeah.
Okay, so the only ones I remember were like uh Gavilar saying it and Amaram
Amaran,
saying it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
I only counted twice. Was it more?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Oh. Yeah, anyways, that one name after like realizing the connections with Miss Bond has changed so much, and like how much people knew about all the you could say history of Roshar, like that wasn't available to like all the main characters.
And like you can see
So
even like the way he describes some characters, like he mentions that one person is like short, scrawny, and like he seems very jittery, and like if you read later books you know who that is. He mentions a
yeah.
dark man with like a moon birthmark on his face, and you're like so
Wait,
like
who is that? Who is that?
but like yeah,
And
yeah. So should we get into
yeah,
characters? Oh wait, you wait.
yeah,
You
yeah.
want to fit? Yeah, say your thing.
Oh, no, it's a spoiler. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
a huge spoiler.
is there anything else
Yeah.
in plot you'd like to talk about before we move on to characters?
No, not really.
Okay. So.
Oh, oh yeah, like I also want to talk about the visions that Dalinar got. So at the first, Dalinar thought it was like he was like
Message from the
actually
Almighty.
meeting,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like an actual like live message from the Almighty,
Uh-huh.
and he like trusted that dude without any question. So, and like towards the end of the book where like killed this dude, I I'm not gonna say who Odium is or who this dude is,
I mean, his name is
but
mentioned, so
like,
it's not really a spoiler. Yeah.
is it? Wait, is it
No,
actually?
no, no. He's mentioned in the book a bunch of times.
Yeah. So like I like how Dalinar realized that it's not really like a live vision. It's like more of like a pre-recorded one. That was really cool.
And what were
And
some of your like other favorite moments in the book?
uh, okay, Kaladin saying the second ideal was like probably really good. And okay, Shalan did not have any cool moments to be honest.
I mean, kind of. A lot of her interaction with Kamsal were just like, oh, I know his deal. I know who he is. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Uh, but
just
like
that's
if
it.
you're talking about like one like particular moment that like uh I would say either like Wit talking to Kaladin, that was really cool. Like that's always cool. Whenever you see Wit, it's amazing. And uh,
My favorite moment, I'll take over like for a bit. My favorite moment was actually just like Dalinar. I already mentioned this, but like the scene with Dalinar and Sadeas when he's bargaining for Kaladin. Yeah, I love that scene so much.
oh, oh yeah, yeah,
That's like
that's also cool. And in like the first half of the book, okay, I count the first half as like a separate book now. I don't know why, but like Dalinar stopping the chasm fiend's like hands while like Elokar was about to die. That was such a cool scene because like Adolin realizing that his dad is actually not weak. That was cool. And
it's like, oh, my dad's not weak. Yeah, what do you think, Adeline?
yeah, yeah,
We've known him
yeah.
for five
Okay.
seconds. We already know he's not weak.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
known him for like how
that's
many
true.
years now?
Yeah, that's true.
Captain
And
Obvious over here.
yeah, yeah, that's it. I don't think there's any other
All
moments.
right, so let's get into characters, and like you can see the scene I've picked as the art for like the background of this one. Uh,
Yeah.
this is this is like one of the biggest scenes in the book for like Callan. You know, his you already mentioned this the swear his swearing of the second ideal. Damn, we've already been talking for like 40 minutes. Sheesh, that felt like no time
Yo,
at all.
yo,
But like,
what?
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kaladin's whole so let's just go through this like character by character. Um so obviously we're going to spend the most time talking about Kaladin's character, right? Because in this book, that's who it focuses on.
Yeah.
So since we already spoke a bit about his arc in the plot section, I'd say now we should talk about his flashbacks, his backstory.
Kaladin's flashbacks were okay. To be honest, at the first flashback he got was really confusing. Like he was in like a completely separate location. I wasn't even sure like what was happening to be honest. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it's a flashback and shit. That was fine. And
The
uh,
part saying 9 years ago, like stand out to you.
wait, I don't think I read that to be honest. I think I skipped that part. I don't know why, but
I'm so
I just
hurt.
started from like the chapter like where the chapter starts, and I was so confused because like his mom was talking to him and like a lot of TN was there. That was confusing, and okay, yeah. Backstory wise, in Kaladin's backstory, you see how like Kaladin like chooses between like his two career options, and
Yeah, we're in 10th grade. We need to choose between surgeon and soldier. Rishikesh, come on.
I
Like,
swear, I
which,
swear.
which, but like instead for us, it's like humanities, science, and whatever. Which one
Yeah.
are you taking? Um
Yeah. So like there was this one scene like after Liren like healed like Roshan, I guess, and Kaladin like decides he's 100% going to be a surgeon, but still there's like hope in back of his mind, or like not hope, I would say, like confusion. He's still confused whether he wants to be a soldier, although he's like convinced Liren he's going to become a surgeon. And like I that's kind of confusing to me because like if he already decided he's going to be a surgeon, why would he still like think about it? Why would he still think about a surgeon?
Well,
Like,
because the spear calls to him, because like he knows that the surgeon is probably
oh yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
best option for him, but like he's held the spear. He has like a connection to it that most other
yeah.
kids
Oh
don't.
yeah,
That he's just like, shit, I want to kill people, man. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oh yeah, I completely forgot about that scene where like he first holds his spear and he starts fighting with like
and he
people
asked
his age or
if you
something.
like, can you teach me your
Yeah,
ways?
yeah, yeah. So okay, that was where he like first like fought someone, right?
Yeah,
Or like
he
with a
lost
weapon.
badly, but like yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was like that was so that basically led him to like give up being a surgeon. Okay, so he didn't give up being a surgeon, did he?
He didn't.
He
But
was
I mean, he didn't give up being a surgeon. He was forced into the thing because like he had to
okay. No,
like,
he wasn't
oh my god,
forced. So he had a choice.
he was forced by himself. You can
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So like when Tien got called out into the army, he he could have just stayed there.
Very
But
Hunger Games moment.
yeah,
I volunteer.
exactly,
I
exactly.
volunteer.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm pretty sure he outlined that scene like before Hunger Games even came out, the first book. But like whatever.
Yo.
Yeah, I feel like because like my God, he keeps getting one upped by Hunger Games because like he releases like a dystopian fantasy like 1 year before Hunger Games, like 2 years before Hunger Games comes out the first time. Now everyone who reads this part is just gonna be like, wait, this is Hunger Games, no? And he's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
it's something else. It's just like
That's sad.
it's so sad. He keeps
Yeah.
getting like taken over by Hunger Games.
Hunger Games is so mid though. The first book was nice,
The
but
first book was good. The second book was good. Third book was uh
yeah, yeah. Third
yeah,
book was
rough.
yeah. Oh,
Like
is
I
that
liked a lot of the
spoiler?
concepts. It was
Oh
rough.
yeah, yeah,
I don't think. Wait, we're talking about Way of Kings. Shit, why are we?
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, like in every
Oh, that's true.
video so far, in every video like of like this 1 hour like kind of format, like in the Wheel of Time video, we just started talking about like Discworld randomly. In A Good Girl's Right to Murder, we just started talking about Wheel of Time randomly. Now we're talking about Hungry Games of all things. So
Yo.
I think this is gonna
Yeah,
happen like every episode. But like yeah. But like yeah,
yeah,
Kaladin, his like connection to Tien was also like pretty touching, and then like and then like every moment, and then like and then at that scene where Liren goes to Doctor Roshon, he's finally like he goes to his father, he's like, I'm gonna be a surgeon, and like Kaladin, yeah, wait, but then you're like, oh, in the present he's a soldier, so how does he? And then you get to that scene, and it's like so heartbreaking. It's like you're the future,
yeah, yeah.
but then like Roshon that. God.
And like, so in book three, oh wait, nah, man,
I guess
that's
this is like
sad.
why we should review it on like rereads and stuff.
I swear.
But then, yeah, that's so then, especially like that final scene where he's just like go where Kaladin like he has to like go with Tien. That part was like heartbreaking as all hell.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
and then
felt
like
so
and then
bad for
like
like Lirin. He was like
it's just
he
like he
nearly
loses both of
cried,
his
right?
kids.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
loses
That was
both of
so
his
sad.
kids. I know, and like what was his mom's name?
Hesina,
Hesena.
yeah.
Hesena. She was also like really sad, and my god, it's just like heartbreaking. And then especially like you know what happens in chapter one, and like you're reading chapter one, and like, oh, who's Sen? Is he going to be a main character? Oh no, he's dead. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if and like
That was
even on
so
like
sad.
Kaladin's first bridge run, then like first Sen dies, who's a kid Kaladin was trying to protect, and then finally that kid on the bridge run dies, who Kaladin was also trying to protect, and then finally and then like at the last final like chapter right before he swears the second ideal, you see like Tien's dead, and like he's just like in the middle of the battlefield like holding Tien's body, and he's crying, and like that image
Yeah,
itself,
yeah, yeah.
it's so sad.
That was such a like a vivid image, I could say. Like it was so easy to imagine him doing that.
And like
Like,
the loss of every bridgeman as well in this book, when
yeah,
like
yeah,
it hit
yeah.
hard, because you know, because like you weren't like, for like the more minor bridgemen, you had some connection to them, but you weren't as connected to them. The reason that a loss felt bad was because of what it did to Kaladin, because every single bridgeman he would get like ever so slightly worse with his depression and stuff, and that was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that was just like
Yeah. And like the most important character in this book, no joke, was the dude who gave Kaladin his sandals.
oh my god, yeah.
Because no, he like
He dies on like his
without
first
those
bridge run
sandals,
itself.
yeah, without those sandals, Kaladin could not have run bridge runs, and that means Dalinar would have died, and that means uh, Yasna would have been depressed, and that means Shalan would have been depressed. So yeah,
Thankfully,
that
Shalana
dude was really
isn't. She
important.
just has, you know, other assorted mental illnesses. So
Yeah,
it's fine. But
yeah,
Adrian would have also have died. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, yeah. Adolin and like a lot of people died.
So the guy who
That's
gave
sad.
Kaladin his sandals is basically like the Stormlight equivalent of the rat from Endgame.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm also gonna put that at the beginning of the video.
Okay, okay, fine. Yeah, so character wise, I think we like talked about everyone at this point.
Yeah, so that's nice. Yeah. No, wait, we haven't talked about
Any
everyone.
other?
Like Kaladin's arc. What do you think about like his arc? Like how it's built up throughout the book and
Uh,
how it concludes? Because obviously at this point in the series, his arc is not even close to being done as like a whole throughout the whole series. But like in this specific book,
so in this book, I would say, yeah, yeah. It like so it emphasizes like on the
protection part.
yeah, yeah, on the exactly on the protection part. So it talks about how he tries to protect people who he care about, but he fails. And so like in the first part of the series, he thought he was cursed. Okay, not the series of this book. He thought he was cursed by the
Technically, also,
Almighty.
well, I mean, the first part of this book is technically also the first part of the series
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
know, it's
fine. Yeah, so he thought he was like cursed by the Almighty, but then like Syl comes to his life and Syl like tells him he's not cursed, he's actually blessed to live.
storm
And
blessed. Dun, 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 dun.
fine, yeah. So like imagine like being so sad you think you're cursed by God. That's crazy though, yeah. That's like
I know we have
damn.
a couple of those in our class, like Nishchan. I feel like he's probably, but wait, no, he is God. No, wait. He cursed himself.
No. Yo, what?
No, like the amount of like Aditya, like I feel like the amount that Aditya like gives him, he's just like, why am I still here? Just to suffer.
Yeah, yeah. Nischint has such a cool villain story, like villain backstory. If
He's
Nischint
like,
like grows up to become like a villain, I wouldn't be surprised.
shit, Nishchan becomes Elon Musk in the future? No way.
Elon Musk. What? Yeah. And who else is a character in this book?
Oh man, I can't. I think Callan is the only one, you know. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, I
that's
think
it
a
about
main
Kaladin actually.
yeah, I think a main reason that this is my favorite book still is because Kaladin is like still my favorite character. How much ever of a normie take that is, he is still my favorite character in the series. I don't really. It's like in this series, like I think Kaladin's arc so far is one of the most fleshed out. Maybe Dalinar's later in the series comes pretty close, or maybe even surpasses it. We'll have to see. But as of right now, I think Kaladin's is the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say Darren is, but like, yeah, you like Kaladin more, so whatever.
I
Yeah,
mean, they're like interchangeable, right? Like Kaladin, like it could either of them could be number one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
We'll
That
see
makes
how
sense.
we'll see how Zets works out in book five.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Then what else? What about Dalinar's backstory? I mean, not his backstory. Don't talk about that
His,
yet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
No.
Dalinar, so we talk about, there was this one scene where he was talking about like the Night Watcher and what his curse and blessing was. And he, like, it shows how, like, um, so he knew what he, okay, I can't say that. Shit.
Okay, shit. Characters is like really hard to talk about because most of it is just Kaladin for this book.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
okay, wait, let's talk about Shallan and the ideal she swears at the end of this book. I killed my dad.
She does?
I
Oh,
killed my dad,
yeah.
you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
Oh,
means
yeah,
that before
that
she's
also
already
sounds good.
sworn life before death, sorry, death before weakness, journey before destiny. I mean, she's already
Oh,
sworn that, right?
oh,
Because
oh,
that's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm still like confused if if what she swore at the end of the book was like her second or third ideal.
I, I, I don't know actually. So we, okay. Um, so she has sworn the first idol before. Also, you don't know that she's a radiant in this book.
No, but like at the end, like Yasna says something pretty close that's just like implying that she is.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. She was like talking about radiant. Okay, fine, fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But she doesn't really use Stormlight. Okay, she doesn't get injured. That's fair.
Yeah, because like it's especially very much implied because when she gets injured, it mentions like when she gets injured, it mentions that the stormlight beams are like dimming out, which is exactly how it's like mentioned for Kaladin, and like so it's very heavily implied. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. And also about like the, I can't say this again. It's no.
like okay, yeah, but like I think Shallan's character was like built up especially how it builds up intrigue for later books. It's like um, Shallan's and Dalinar's is like you have no idea what happens in their past, and that makes it so that in later books you're like, what happened to them? I need to know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's like the and
And then like Shalan just saying she killed her dad with like no context whatsoever. Like she reveals that her dad was dead, but like to say she killed her that was like that was so like
and like
unexpected
especially
to
I,
be honest.
one of the interludes was like from Shallan's like brother's perspective, and that
Oh
was
yeah,
like
yeah,
injuring animals or some shit. I'm not gonna
yeah, yeah,
focus
yeah.
on that right now, but like we can see how like broken the family is from just Chalan's perspective and that one interlude from Nan Palat's perspective,
Yeah.
and that was like
And so character wise, only like Kaladin had like much of a character development, I would say, throughout this
well,
book.
let's talk about Syl. Syl had like
Syl
because like
became
at the beginning,
smarter.
yes, I wish I
Yeah,
could.
that's
Um, um,
same, same.
she became smarter. Yeah, that. Well, I mean, you are smarter than me, but like that's not a very high bar. But like still, yeah,
Mm,
like as her journey throughout the book, like it goes along. Like you see, she's like just trying to make Kaladin like happy. It's just like when she, especially when she like brings like the poisonous as leaf to him during the honor chasm scene, and like
yeah, yeah.
especially like that honor chasm scene, that was like one of like the most powerful moments in the whole book for me because just like
Oh,
and like
you
she's
know
just
what
like
that scene reminded me of? You know, there was this like one English poem, like, what was it called?
the
Dust of
sparrow.
Snow. Dust
Dust
of
of
Snow.
Snow.
No, this
Oh,
year.
this year.
It's
Okay.
literally that. So it's a depressed dude. See something deadly, happy.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Frost poem from like 1800s is secretly foreshadowing the Way of Kings.
I
Um,
swear, I swear.
what about like the Happy Prince? That was also like uh, the Happy Prince is What if
Oh,
like
is it like the?
yeah, 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 the statue and like the bird
Oh,
and
yeah,
like the
yeah,
happy
yeah.
princess still and the sparrow is Kaladin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that
Still,
since the happy prince and still and the sparrow die together, that means Kaladin are still are gonna die together.
oh,
Shit.
foreshadowing book 5.
Foreshadowing. Oh my god. No, book 10.
Yo,
Book 10. Book 10.
Calisil confirmed.
I'll kill you.
Okay, fine. I was about to say something. Shit.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Sill's development, especially in relation to Kaladin, is like very great because remember that one scene like right before the dog and the dragon where Kaladin just Sill's asks, "Oh, so you're saying all of this is my fault?" And Kaladin's like, "Maybe," and then she just like runs off
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
at the end she finally realizes what she is. She's an honors friend, and that's like it's perfect for
Oh,
Kaladin.
yeah. That was such a cool scene. So in this book, I would say Sil. So at the first time we see her was like,
As a
like
windspread, she's just
yeah,
like chicken around and stuff.
yeah, yeah. She's just roaming around and things. So and like after she meets Kaladin, she starts gaining a personality, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say maybe in the cognitive realm she would have. I mean, spoiler
Oh,
shit. God. Well, everything's a spoiler.
yeah. Another important scene was where she discovered what sarcasm was. That was like life changing, I would say. It was like, oh, that's sarcasm. I know what sarcasm is. And it's like, whoa, that's
Sarcasm?
crazy. That
Oh
was
my
that was cool. Yeah.
god. This changes everything. Oh yeah, this changes everything. Yeah. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Um But like yeah, still I mean you can definitely feel like the connection between Kaladin and Syl in this book, especially because like
Yeah, yeah.
he's able to like pull him out of a but like yeah, Renarin is a very cool character at least. Can't really say much about him in this one, but yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do
Um,
anything this book. He was practically useless this book, I would say.
but
Yeah,
like I like
like
how
it.
it sets him up for later books. Like I like how it like sets up the relationship between him and Adolin because like how they're
Oh,
brothers and stuff. Like how Dalinar doesn't
oh,
view him as any lesser because of because he can't fight and stuff. That's really cool. I think. Uh,
yeah, yeah. And like Renarin, like Adolin knowing Renarin isn't like actually like weak.
Stupid.
Okay, not he
No.
is weak. Like yeah, stupid. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like their like bond is really cool, I would say.
Yeah.
Bond.
Um, Bond.
Whoa.
Shit,
Stormlight
Renarin is
reference.
Adolin's friend. Starlight, it always kills me. It's just like I remember like showing you like the first chapter of Canon and like Honor is dead. Starlight reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, that's every character, I would say.
yo, but like when Syl was like it's stormlighting time and then Kaladin stormlighted all over the place. That was
Whoa,
like so
whoa.
hype. But wait, technically
What?
that did happen. In a way, that did happen. It's like it's stormlighting can also be taken as say the words Kaladin, and stormlighting all over the place can be taken as us wearing the second ideal.
Okay.
Yeah, I must say, Kaladin. Yeah, out of the three, I mean, out of the characters, like of the supporting characters, because we already ranked the main characters. Out of the supporting characters, like Kaladin supporting, Dalinar supporting, Shallan supporting, how would you rank them?
Does Lirin count?
Yeah, no, in flashbacks count. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Lirin, this book was amazing, I would say. His like duty as a surgeon and like him choosing between two patients and all, that was really cool. So Lirin is probably the best character of this book.
Oh yeah, and
High
Lydon,
class. Yeah.
about Lydon, his entire moral code is what provides Kaladin with a large part of his character. When he's like, you have to do the good thing before anyone else can. I mean, before if no one else has done
Yeah,
the good
yeah,
thing, then you should be the first. And then, like that's what he's thinking about when he's looking at Dalinar's army being abandoned, and it's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like
So
every
I
and
would
like
say,
every single
yeah,
piece of morality that Lirin drilled into Kaladin as a kid just like shapes who he is in the present right now. Yeah. And that's
that's
a
so
really cool
true.
part of who he is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah. And
Then
Lirin
wait,
also, like,
I
oh
just
yeah, fine,
realized
yeah, but
we haven't spoken about Zet at all. Shit.
that's true. Um,
It's like Zet, especially like the prologue, you can see how remorseful he is for what he's doing.
yeah,
Because like generally in movies and shit, you just like you see an assassin, he's just like haha killing, yeah. But like Zed is
yeah,
just like killing. So it's just like,
yeah.
well, like
And okay, Zeth was the first person who started to um, like, uh, use use it like lashings, right?
yeah, the way he like set up the whole world building part was cool as hell. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
And
set up the magic system because like generally for Sanderson, like in the first chapter he won't just go into depth with the magic system, but then it's like, oh, Zed performed a basic lashing. What's a basic lashing? A basic
yeah,
lashing was
yeah,
dash dash dash, and that worked really well for this book especially. Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's so true. And
Yeah.
we also see like how Zeth treats his masters. So Zeth wanted a master who like did not know what he did. So after Taravanjan found him, or like his group found him, he was so like sad because they knew what he was capable of, and that
Yeah.
scene was really important, I would say.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh man, I'm gonna have to kill again. And you see how he just like
Yeah,
he hates what he has to do, partially because of what Shin culture is. It's like anti-violence and all that, but also because he just doesn't like it. He feels bad for everything.
yeah, that's so
But then
true.
remember that there's like that one interlude where he has to go kill a king, and it's revealed that the king actually set everything up, and then he's like, "Oh, you're a horrible person. I don't feel bad about killing you at all now. Bye bye." And then,
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And we also we realize who like owned him first. His like first master was, you remember that one interlude with like Risen and his master like Bab, how do you pronounce it?
Babsk, Babsk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he was the first master of like Zeth.
Yeah, that was
He was like
that was
talking with the other Shinoa dude, and he mentions about the one truthless dude who he got from him, but the other slaves were like not like ready to like trade or something, and so that was really cool. So is
Oh,
it
and
foreshadowing?
in like the prologue to Words of Radiance, also you also find out about one of the other people who owns that before. I won't say who it is, but like that was just like, oh wait, what? That was cool. But then
I
there's
don't
also like,
remember the prologue.
you know, I only remember it now because I reread it recently, so that's.
Oh, yeah.
So I won't say who it is, but like we find out about someone who did own Zed before the series. But like
Oh,
so
yeah.
basically we also get
And
like
okay, yeah, we also learn about this other thing. So Zeth, at like the first like prologue, you could say, he was really like sad that he had to walk on stones for some reason. And
because
towards
it's
the
because
end
of
of
the
the book,
Shin thing, yeah, because of the
yeah,
Shin
and
thing.
towards the end of the book, there's this one scene, him realizing that he does not care anymore because he's like slowly going insane, I would say, like killing every dude who sees him or something.
Yeah.
That was really, yeah.
Oh, and also another scene with Zed that I want to highlight is like Zed's final scene where he finds out everything about Taravangian and he has to like hold himself
Oh,
back from not killing him because like shit, this
yeah,
guy sucks. What the hell is he doing? My God, it's like
yeah,
the worst shit I've seen in my life. I can just stab him right now. but I can't.
Yeah.
Damn it. So that was like,
If that happened, the series would have been so nice.
oh man, imagine Realm of War without when that happened.
Oh yeah, it does. Oh no. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Spoilers. No
Mm.
spoiling.
Yeah,
Hi already. Yeah.
that's all the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, we already spoke about Taravangian like before, in the beginning of this. So I guess we'll
Yeah.
finally get into world building. Yeah.
Yeah. So world building wise, this was like I would say the best book in the series, other than book three, of course.
Book four actually, I think, has a lot of the because it doesn't do a lot of the magic system aspects.
Yeah. In book three, we like figure out who the main enemy is, and like
Kind. Yeah.
who like the actual like war starts, I would say.
But I think book one is like it's a little bit lighter on the world building because it's like you don't get much. It's just like he just kind of throws you into it. It's like what the hell
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
happening? What's a high storm?
Exactly.
What's a thunderclast? What's a
What's a
lashing?
friend?
What's
Yeah.
a zet? What's a
Yeah. What's it truthless? You're so confused about everything.
what's a
But like
shinob? What's a shinobar? What's a door? So
door Elantris reference?
oh my god. But
Yo.
I
Okay,
don't
that's
think
not
I
a
stand
spoiler.
up to
That's
be
not a
said.
spoiler.
That's this is not a spoiler, but like
Yeah. And so world building wise, yeah, it's like exactly like you said. You just get thrown into it, and you just like it's confusing at first, but somehow you just like deal with it. It's not bad actually.
it's just like
But
it's
there's
like at first you're just like what the hell is happening, but like as it goes on, it just like feels more and more natural to you. It's just like yeah,
yeah,
of course plants dig into the ground. Why wouldn't they?
yeah,
So it's like
of course the storm recharges spears. Why wouldn't they?
the magic system is what a lot of people like focus on in terms of Sanderson world building. In this book, it takes a lot of a backseat because for the majority of the book, none of the characters even know they get magic. They
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it's like at the beginning it's like Zed did this and then this and like oh shit they're gonna really delve into the magic system later. This is just surface level and then throughout the rest of the book, Kaladin had a spear. He stabbed,
yeah, yeah.
and then like at the
He
end
thought other
Kaladin's like
people to
wait.
stab. Yeah,
Yeah, and then like
yeah,
at the end of the book, it's like, wait, shit, I can do more than just stab. I can fly and then stab. Shit. So, in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
in terms of world building, the interludes do a lot.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
yeah. The interludes are so important, I would say. Like not just
like
for this book, like for
oh
the
my god,
like
on the first read through I was like, oh, this is cool, but like what does it have to do with anything? Now I'm like
yeah,
the foreshadowing, oh my god.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
everything with like arisen, that interlude was like it even like see like each a lot of lines, there are a lot of lines that just subtly like show you how the world goes. It's like um in what in like the prologue, one thing I remember is just like the arrows flew up and then arched down like sky hills, and you're like, what the hell is a sky hill? But like now you know how they
yeah,
move. So it's like
yeah.
that was a
So
that was
what? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and oh yeah, there was this one interlude. I think it was a dude trying to categorize every single spren in Rorschach or something.
oh yeah, and it's like oh, and it was like mentioning how like once you measured it, it would stay that exact size, and
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
that like it for charges like the cognitive and everything that goes on with that. You know
Yeah, that's
how
so
like you can
true.
that's like at that moment I realized, oh wait, that's what that was. And like there was that one interlude about a guy who was just like inside a museum, like as his like master, like his like the person he worked for was just like running through a building, like just destroying art of Shalash, and like
Oh yeah,
as
yeah,
soon as
yeah,
you
yeah.
know who that is because
Yeah, yeah, that was
and
so
that was
cool.
even there in the prologue. It's just like Shalash's, all of the heralds were there except Shalash. And you're like, who's Shalash?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
now you know. So
Yeah,
it's like,
that was so cool.
And then
Yeah.
there's even like that drunk guy agreeing, like screaming, like, "Have you seen me?" And like and later in the series, you know who that guy is, and it's like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
it's like shit. What? How much does this guy know before he
Yeah,
even
yeah.
writes the damn series? It's
I
like,
swear, bro.
and like you can like especially another thing that like adds so much to the world is like Dalinar's visions, because
Oh.
you have no idea what's happening in half of them. Like, and like it's not even just world building for Roshar, it's world building for the entire Cosmere. Like the first vision we see Dalinar go into actually has like foreshadowing for like rest of the Emerald Sea of all things. Because like
Uh,
at first it's like maybe the world building seems a bit shallow, but like the longer you go into it, the deeper it gets, and like the more like hints he sprinkles throughout. It's like salt. It's like at
yeah.
the beginning of the book, it's like he puts like one grain of salt, and then like later in the book, he just dumps a whole bucket of it onto the table. And it's like
Yeah.
that was I love that. Um, shit.
Uh,
What do you think about the world?
yeah. Uh, yeah, I would agree with what you said actually. So, on like your first read, you wouldn't understand any of the foreshadowing, obviously, and even the world building feels kind of like weird. But on the reread, you like realize how much Brandon Sanderson planned like ahead. Like in the interludes are crazy, actually, though.
Yeah,
The
and
foreshadowing for the
that.
interludes, yeah.
And like just because you don't understand what's going on the first read doesn't mean you want to enjoy it, because like you'll be like, I have no idea what's happening, but I am
Yeah,
loving
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah, exactly. So I remember reading this like right after Mistborn, like era one,
yeah,
and I was kind of confused because like I expected like familiar characters and everything, but
really.
no, I just yeah maybe that's why I didn't like book one that much because it was like, oh, new characters, no, I have to like learn who they are again. I don't know. Yeah, but like uh now yeah now I like Stormlight more than Mistborn, so
I think almost everyone who's read Stormlight and Mistborn would agree that Stormlight is better.
yeah, that's true.
And
So
one other thing I think is like it surprises me like how natural it is to just come back into the world, you know, because
yeah,
it's
that's so true. That's
like
so
you
true.
spend
Yeah,
I've spent like a year away from it at this point, like maybe after like Dawn Shard in that time, but like immediately, like as soon as I like read like the first like the prelude to the Storm Attack, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, now I
yeah,
remember literally everything that
yeah,
happens. And that's
that's so true. Yeah,
it's a testament to his world building that like it's just so immersive too. It's like
like he thinks of so many things, and like the connections between them are also like so, like, ex. How do you call it?
expansive, like
Yeah, I know.
fleshed out.
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. It makes so much sense when you think about it. Like, uh,
And one thing that like really helps is that like the characters don't really explain much of the world to you, because then it feels like you should know all of this already, which means like it's
yeah,
always
yeah,
like it's natural. It's like uh, the high storm's coming in 2 days time, and then like everything's it has, and like every bird is called a chicken, and it's like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
that one person introduced is like, what the hell is this? It's grass. It's weird, I know. And it's like, and then like as you read, you're
That
like,
was so
yeah,
great.
grass is
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah. It grows on soil. That's
What
crazy.
the hell are you?
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
he makes it sound weird to you too, and that makes it feel so much more immersive immediately.
yeah, yeah. That was actually hilarious, though. Like,
Yeah. Well, like
uh,
even in that one Shinobar chapter, like it had so much world building it alone, because it
yeah,
also
yeah,
like
yeah,
shows the dynamic between the Shinobar, like regular people, and the soldiers, because soldiers are actually considered like a lower part of society. It mentions that too in Shinobar,
yeah,
and that's like juxtaposed with like the rest of Doshar, in which like Vorinism preaches like just being a soldier as like the highest like calling. uh,
yeah. World building wise, it was. Okay, so you only understand the world building or like the foreshadowing after you finish the series. So it's kind of like if you're
It's
reading it for
subjective
the first
based on
time,
how well you know this
yeah,
world and the interview.
exactly, exactly. So it depends on how well you know the Cosmere in like whole. And it's so if you're reading it for the first time, I wouldn't say it's great. Most of the world building happens
It's not.
like
It,
on the
it is
later books.
great. It is great, but it's like you just don't know what's going on.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Like most of the explanation happens in the later books, I would say.
Yeah.
And but like all the foreshadowing, I would say it's in this book mostly.
See, I think that's one of the best parts of the series, that it all happens in later books, because this book creates a lot of intrigue for later books, especially because like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
something
exactly.
happened. That it's the concept that something happened itself immediately makes you know, like I mean, the concept that something happened is immediately just like, yes, you need to know what happens next. It's like, you
Yeah,
know, you need to know what happened in the past to make the world like what it is right now.
exactly, exactly. That was
Especially
really
everything
cool.
that's happening, like Yasna's research of the void bringers. Like at the end of
Yeah,
that book, you're just like, wait, they're the void bringers. I need to know more. And then
yeah,
like
yeah,
you go
yeah.
into,
And all the things about the recreants, like after Dalinar sees the recreants happen, and you were like, "Oh shit, why did that happen? What, like, what caused them to do it?" And so, okay, we still don't know why it happened, right?
not yet, not
But
not
it's like,
entire, not entirely. We don't know entirely why it
yeah, yeah,
happened,
yeah, yeah,
but we know
fine.
parts. We know
That's
large. We know large swathes of it.
yeah, that's cool. So, like, if you read the first book, I'm pretty sure you would read the second book. I don't think people would drop it with the first book.
I mean, if you didn't like the first book, you won't really like anything else in the series. But if you even if you
Yeah,
at least kind of liked it, then
exactly. Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
in my opinion, this is actually like a pretty good place to start with Sanderson. If, and this is a big if you've like, if you're like familiar with fantasy, because like if you're not familiar with fantasy, this might throw you off. But I still think it would be a good introduction to fantasy. Like the only thing that's holding it back from being like the best place to be is like there are two things. It's just like its space and its length,
yeah,
because
yeah. That's
like,
true.
that might throw new readers off. But like, if you're willing to like push through, this is definitely like the best one, like maybe the
Yeah,
best place
yeah,
to start. Um, because like it's just his best work, the series. So like, what, who wouldn't want to start with an author's best work? It's like, yeah,
Arguable, but yeah, sure.
yeah. I mean, like
Uh,
Miss Martin is still a great thing,
yeah,
but like this is
yeah.
like,
Honestly, yeah, I would say this is better than Miss Bond book one.
yeah. No, I mean, most of his book ones are better than Miss Martin book one,
Yeah, 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 true.
except the
That's true.
Lane I guess. I think Miss Martin book one is still better than the Lane.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. No, Elantris is a bit weaker, especially in the character work. Like the most interesting character
uh,
in Elantris is Raven.
yeah, yeah, and
Like,
yeah, his character like flipped towards the end of the book.
and like a lot of the characters in like Elantris just seem like some like slightly distorted, like less deep versions of characters in Stormlight. Kind of like Raven just feels like Kaladin, but instead of pessimistic, he's optimistic. Like overly optimistic. And like
Yeah,
Sarini is like
that's true. That's
her name is literally like Sir Eni, and Eni is the Aeon for wit. And like Shalan, everyone always goes on about how Shalan's so witty, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
but she's different from Shalan because she can't draw well. So
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's like a whole chapter dedicated to how she can't draw well at all. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Elantris was where Brandon like thought of characters for Stormlight actually.
But there are like three entire books where he's just thinking of characters from Stormlight. There's Dragonsteel Prime, which
That's a
has the entire
book.
concept. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Which you can download it online for free. No, um,
Oh,
apparently it's not like the best. Then the like Dragon Steel Prime just has like the entire concept of like the shattered planes. Then
oh,
then the Way of Kings Prime, which is obviously which is
okay, yeah.
like the first draft that he ever wrote, like back in 2005, which is 5 years before the book release. Before he, this is like before he wrote that before he got published itself. Yeah. Uh,
Oh,
and that's crazy. And then yeah, that's Yeah. And then
Yeah,
there's
that's all the
Atlantis.
world building. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff. And
yeah.
yeah, so like, but yeah, world building in this book I think is done really well. Especially like the interludes. There's like that pure like chapter two that was really good.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So anything you want to
With like,
add to world building before we like do the summary?
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm done.
Yeah, okay. So I know this is thanks for watching, but like, stay.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, uh,
What?
summary. What are your overall thoughts on this book? Your final thoughts.
Um. Yeah. So, like, at the since it's like the first book of the Stormlight Archive, it's a really it's an amazing book to start with actually. So I know it's the first book of the series, and that's why that's why
One of the
it's
best.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's why it's the best book to start with. But like still, it focuses so much on uh like the core aspects of a story, I would say, like where like all the characters are like set up, or like the locations, I would say, like the Shattered Plains, Karbranth, all the other places, and or like the events that happen, you could say, like the high storms and all of that. So all of them get introduced in this book, and yeah, it's a good way to like enjoy, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I think this is like, obviously this is definitely his best work to date. Like, I can't really think of anything that even rivals this. I know that you think Yumi is pretty close, and yeah, it is pretty close, but I still think Stormlight is better because it's
Hmm.
Stormlight. And like, this is like
Yeah,
one of the biggest epics I've ever read in my life, and I'm absolutely loving it. And one of the best part of the series is that I never know where it's going. It's like I know maybe
oh
some
yeah,
places
yeah,
would
yeah.
go somewhere, but like even like we're almost halfway through the series, and I have no idea what's gonna happen from book 6 to 10 because it all depends on how book 5 is gonna end. And I'm so
Yeah,
scared
yeah,
for the future of the series because it's like shit. Oh my god, who's gonna die?
yeah,
Am
yeah,
I
yeah,
gonna?
yeah.
Is gonna die? Is Dana gonna die? Am I gonna die? So it's like, but I mean, considering that
Yeah.
it comes out around the same time as pre-boards, I'm probably gonna die too. But
Wow.
yeah, uh, but yeah,
Yeah,
this, this is like an absolutely amazing book. And if you somehow got all the way to the spoiler review without reading the actual without like reading the actual book, maybe you should like go to it now because I'm telling
yeah,
you, reading this book is not a waste of anything. It's perfect down to every last detail. So
that's
yeah.
true.
So stay tuned for our like future reviews in the series, which we will continue next from Words of Radiance, which is the second book. After that, we're gonna also do the novellas. Like our novella reviews will be like 20 minutes. I'm pretty sure both of us
Yeah.
because it'll be a lot shorter because obviously the novellas are a lot shorter. But even then, I think his novellas are still the length of a novel. Like Dawn Shard is like
Hmm.
55,000 words, and 50,000 words is the length of a novel.
Actually, I haven't read Dawn Shard yet. That's kind
Oh,
of,
so once you finish Oathbringer, that's what you're gonna have to do first.
yeah, yeah. I'll read Dawn Shard before Rhythm of War.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this time we're actually gonna go according to order because for me, I read like Edge Dancer after Oathbringer and then read Dawnshard after Realm of War, which is like the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to read Edge Dancer before Oathbringer. But I'm rambling and Rishikesh needs to go, so we will cut it off here. Thank you so much for watching. We will smell you later.
What? What? Okay.
No, we say that all the time. Bye.
No, fine, fine. Bye.